We are completely constructing a Märklin from scratch and closely examining everything you need to go from a small starter set to a beautiful, large dream layout. By the way, our starter pack with the construction train, which you can see in the back, is passing by, usually with 3 wagons and even some construction accessories. And next to it stands a small steam locomotive, this one from the freight train Era 3 package, which you can see behind me. And theoretically, I could actually now manipulate the 2 of them with this infrared control device here with the power control stick. I would have to stop this one here now. So, line up, the train stops, and now we have to turn out to the other locomotive. You can turn out that down here on the side, and then I can drive the locomotive backwards in a slightly different direction, another backwards out, and could now seamlessly control it right here via this very turnout. Just a bit of oomph, indeed a tad faster. So, then she could indeed take another spin here as well. It also has a light at the front, such as a 3-light head signal, which you can see very nicely here when it zips around the corner in a moment. So, a beautiful little steam locomotive. The whole thing indeed comes from a starter pack. And in that starter pack, there's always a lot included, so you can build a nice big layout with lots and lots of tracks. And here you can see an oval from a starter pack just like that. And I have brought along a few more tracks that, for example, are often found in expansion packs. So this here, for example, a very classic round track, a round rail here with a radius 1. I once laid another parallel track next to it, so if you wanted to drive on 2 tracks, for example, or on a double track, then you could just buy a slightly longer round rail, and would then have a parallel circle. Then there are these turnouts, visible here on the lower side, available as straight or curved turnouts. That means, if you want to save a bit more space on the layout, then you can also go into a turnout here in the curve, and then come out faster again. Or you can of course also build bigger then, can still go into the next curve. This would now be another radius here, for example. It's always written on the back, this is a radius 4 track, and we also have a radius 5 track. Anyone with a lot of space for a large system that can run through the apartment on the carpet, or wants to build a huge system in the attic or basement, is well catered for here. And here, I have brought 2 straight tracks again. One track is a bit longer, while the other is somewhat shorter. And these 2 tracks, for instance, add up to exactly the length you typically have when you are at a turnout here below, and at the same time, have this compensation here in front, if you put them one after the other. Here's the length. I'll show by pushing this forward. Then you see it. I'll quickly move the locomotives aside. Yes, then for example, from such a turnout, you would come out straight here. And if we put this together now, then you can see that these 2 tracks here, I push them a bit to the side, also put this aside for a moment, so we can see it better. Then you see that these 3 tracks are now exactly the same length. That means we indeed have a long track here. That is precisely as long as a turnout. This is such a soft compensating piece that we have here. This goes on the side here. Then these 2 tracks are parallel again. Then you see they are exactly parallel to the side again. And now, if I wish for a second track to be parallel once more, then I can take a notably long piece of track. And another short piece of track on the side. They are also included in every starter pack. Then, for instance, you have a 3-track station situated here if you are aiming to construct it in such a manner. That could be done. Yes, where are these tracks? In expansion packs, I'll show you real quick. For example, I brought along a small expansion pack here. For example, this is a package that could now be beautifully connected with this construction site train. For example, that contains exactly what I just showed, namely once a short track. That is this 172 track, that's what it's called. That is 17.2 centimeters long. And then we have here another compensating piece, which would be the extension for this rail. And then we have a turnout included here, and a buffer stop is also included here. Have I actually already unpacked? Because it is exactly what you see here. Namely, the buffer stop here on the side with the short track. And then the turnout with the compensating piece here on the side. So this would be, for example, this package that you can see here, which we have included. And as I said, there are even 2 of the short ones. So this is roughly this construction piece that you have here. Or another track extension pack if you want to take a look at it. We brought it here. This is then perfect for a train station, for example, if you want to build a train station track. And we'll just do that together now. Let's thoroughly examine this here. So here we actually have a track extension pack set with two turnouts. A turnout going to the left, a turnout going to the right. Then we have another two of those turnout compensating pieces. And we have a relatively short track, precisely 5 times, and interestingly 3 times the length of the long track. So, with that, we can already start building really big. I highly recommend that you get this expansion set. So brand new, still the package very hard to open. There's a whole lot of that in there. Oh, there's actually quite a lot in there. Let's take a quick look. And then, for example, we already have the first thing here, namely a planning book or a booklet for lots of great layout inspiration. I'll just put this here in front of the ceiling camera so you can see it from above. Then you can already leaf through here a bit, for example, to see how this works with the track geometry. So there it is, explained exactly what you need, for example, if you want to build a parallel circuit, or what it looks like when you want to move from one track to the next. Wants to build a really big railway station track here, or how one builds such a railway station track here on the side, for example. So here there is a whole lot of inspiration in this booklet with this track extension pack. But of course there is also the explanation for it, and at the back again, inspiration for beautiful layouts included. There is also a book on the Märklin page that you can get on the subject. And here you can also see which track extension pack, that is a starter pack, with which expansion packs would make which systems possible. Because, as previously mentioned, there are indeed quite a lot of these expansion packs available. So now let's just carefully unpack these, and then we'll construct a small station on the side here, so you can see nicely how it's precisely done. We'll send the 2 locomotives to the back of the depot for just a brief moment. So, they are in exceptionally excellent hands there, and then we can continue building a bit more here. I'm cleaning up a bit here so that we have some space. So, that one can also, quite briefly, go back to the depot, etc., to the workshop, and then, right here, it starts with the very first turnout. So here we now have a right-hand turnout on the side. Interestingly, you can expand these turnouts to their maximum extent. Here we see, for example, how they come from the starter pack, what they look like, and here you can turn out them on the side. By hand, with this hand turnout. But you can also insert a motor in the back here, a small drive. It looks like this, as I have already prepared here in this turnout. Then a small drive goes in there, and you can connect it here with a small cable. I'll show you that later in one of these videos as well. And then you can even turn out this turnout with your control device. That is, with a mobile station or with a central station. Or also, with such a completely normal stick pack with an infrared stick, for example, there is also a control panel where you can really press buttons, and then your turnouts will be turnouted back and forth. I'll show you that real quick. I brought along a control panel on the side. Let's take a quick look. That should be here. 1. That's exactly what it looks like. So there we have that siding on the side again. This is included in the starter packs with the infrared pack. And to this desk, you could then, for example, attach something additional to the back of it. Such a control panel here on the side. And then one could just say, veer in one direction or the other. And then you can actually put such a plug on the back, and then it goes directly to this particular point machine, which I had here once again on the side. I'll show you that in another video. Just a quick preview, so, you know, such a thing definitely exists already. With this, you can work well and or play well. Let's put it this way. It's not really work, per se. And then you can also turn out your set of points electrically here. So, turnout number 1, soft number 2, and now take a look. This is now, for example, we can already lay it in this way. I'll show that from above, then you can see it most beautifully. So here one could, for example, stitch the turnouts now like this and could say, one enters here and quasi comes out there again. Then we would just need a turnout compensator now, for example. And then we take a second one, and then, for example, one could already start building a siding or a station.
Abstellgleis bauen oder einen Bahnhof.
It wouldn't be particularly long, indeed very short, but it would effectively work. What do we need now? Now, we need a short track. Comes in on this side. And then we really need a short track again just to properly show you that. This, for example, would not fit that would be a long track. Of course, you can bend it a bit here. The C-track forgives that a bit, but it wouldn't work particularly well. So we're not taking the long track, but we're taking another short track from the label on the back, which means 172. This is a 188 track, 172 fits. So, now we can play a trick, open it again and say, yes, let's take the long tracks just the same, because if we build a round oval here, I'll show it from above, we must come out on the other side again. So we need a long track, we still need a long track. And so, in order for us to end up parallel once again, we find ourselves in need of another short track and yet another brief track to achieve this alignment. And now, we would indeed have the unique opportunity in this particular way to utilize this oval here, for instance. That essentially means we could take a round rail here at this moment and could securely attach it right there. And then we could essentially on the other side, I'll just carefully open this up here for a brief moment. So, could we perhaps also consider taking a leisurely rounding, a somewhat more extended round track, if you will? And then we could proceed to attach the entire assembly right here, so that our oval shape is already noticeably a bit larger, as you can clearly observe. I'll put that aside for a moment, then we'll have more space. Then we easily reach a length of 180 meters, 2 meters, we can manage that, no problem. So, now that we indeed have this at the back here, in terms of length, we can now also remove it. And look, this connecting track here, for the starter packs equipped with the infrared, it's just as long or just as sizable as a long track. That means, essentially, if I were to take this long track right now, I would simply remove it. Then you could just put a connecting track here instead, seamlessly. If you look from the top again, I've already attached a connecting track up here. This is it. Then I'll just take this rail out now. And now I could do exactly this in between. And then I would finally have my big, long, oval shape, already completely finished with my station setup, ready to go. But I still have tracks left over, because that would be a bit short as a station on the side. That would be a bit of a shame. Let's add more tracks. What do we put in? Now we must choose. Short, long, long, short. How much do we possess left? This is a slightly short one. This is a quite long one, and this is another long one. What else do we have here? There we have yet another one. That is also a brief one. Now, we could theoretically just stretch this out a bit wider here and say, we're planning to strategically place another quite nice short one in there. Here comes another short one. However, we could also consider doing something else. In fact, we could say, for example, wait just a moment. This track, this turnout mechanism here, it also has such a curvature on the side. And what radius does this curve have? This is exactly the same radius as from such a turnout compensating piece. That means we can now proceed to add turnout after turnout after turnout after turnout, and in this particular way, for example, we can effectively make our station even longer. For instance, we could actually say, cool, then we go in like that. But that would essentially mean we now need another frog compensator again. On the front side and on the back side, you can see quite well from above. Let's do it right here. And now a short track should be put here, not a long one. With that, the question of what track we put has become moot, because we have to put in a short one. Yes, and theoretically I could put a turnout back in here, and then I would have, for example, not just a 3-track station, but maybe even a 4, 5, 6-track station. So I could really let loose now. And now I could say, for example, well, then we go a notch further back with the track. And even further, I still have space on the layout here. There is still room at the table. Let's go ahead and put that right in the middle. There is always the most space available in the middle. So, now I can comfortably take my long tracks. 1 and 2, I have another long one. I have another one somewhere, don't I? There are some in there, still 2 inside. Short ones available, short ones now unpacked more. So, that would indeed have been quite a long one. And now, we can seamlessly put this together just like this. So now I'm not entirely sure if I had so many long tracks, because I genuinely need another long one and a short one here now. Here I currently have a brief one. Now I would need a more lengthy one. What exactly do we have here? Here we have 3 short. 3 short will be a bit short. Then let's first take out the long ones until we get the geometry right, because we want the circle to close at the top again. So let's start with what is safest, namely working in geometry first. What needs to close, and then we can extend. So we actually need a significantly longer one and a... Wait just a minute, let's carefully connect it right here first, shall we? So we need a long one? Yes, exactly, we already have that on here, so then we'll put the long one here in front. So, and now it would already perfectly work. And now we can indeed comfortably extend. Now we just need 1, 2, 3 rails. And now we can take 3 short ones. 3 short, exactly. Then we proceed in here with a short one still. And then we go in here with a short track still. And then we go in here with a short rail precisely. So, and now we can finally close this whole thing down. On the side and there too, you see, you can actually bend it quite remarkably well, just like that. Then you can get there easily, and then the whole thing is nicely set up. So now we still have a whole lot of tracks left. For example, we could go here now and could ask, what are we doing here? Here we put in a long rail, and then theoretically we have another long rail here, and then we could put the buffer stop here. Or you could say, well, we're going to make this even cooler. Let's swap the 2 tracks here and make it long for now. And then go back in here with the round rail. Then we are parallel again here on the side. But you see, it is much, much longer, visible nicely from above. Now we're longer, meaning we have space here for a nice train station building, for example. We could put a really nice office building there. But we could also do that for longer and could say, what do we take there? Now let's take this very briefly here, the track, which is also a long one. Now we have space here. For a really big building, so there we could now put up a really nice railway track and would still have space in our layout to play. So now, I'll show it again from above, we could really build something nice. We could make this disappear in the tunnel. Then maybe we could build a bit upwards here. That means it could go up a little bit, like a small downhill ramp here. Or perhaps we go a little further out again, but actually we can say, no, we need a little bit more space inside. Then, once again, we'll distinguish the tracks here and construct the whole thing outward. I'm tidying up a bit because I need some space so it doesn't get too confusing, otherwise there'll be too many tracks lying around. So, just put that over here for a moment. I could just as well say that we are not going inside with the track, but we are going outside with the track. So, let's just indeed rotate it around. Nonsense. And now, of course, we actually have such a railway track. Now, we have really much more space inside the facility for a landscape and for houses and everything possible. However, we have a small disadvantage. We now have an S-curve. That means the train coming from this side is actually going to the right. But then, it immediately goes left again. It's not bad now, doesn't derail, runs wonderfully, but maybe doesn't pull off as nicely. Now one could just as well go ahead and, for example, swap these 2 tracks, saying then we'll do it the other way around. Then we'll just put a turnout here instead of this curve on the side. And just the same on the other side, we simply take that out and then, with precision, place a turnout here. So now we have only one challenge, which is that our circle is no longer in sync. Now it doesn't work anymore, because the 2 tracks that are up here, those there, they are wrong now. And now, we just have to take a soft, pliable, compensating piece that we would have here and simply put it in on the side. Because then, our geometry is precisely correct again. And then, we actually have an authentic circle here once again. Not quite perfect indeed, we require just one more step. And so, in this particular way, you can really nicely put together your intricate system, your detailed track plan, so that it will ultimately look great here. There, now you see it goes a bit further in again, doesn't it? So, one could indeed build it like that. So if you want even more tracks on even less space, then, believe me, there's another trick. And now I'm going to show you the smallest possibility to be on 2 tracks at once, in the truest sense of the word. I'll just put the rails here to the side for a moment, and the tracks and turnouts and everything possible. So, you see, everything here is quite robust. You can just put it aside and clear it away, for example, when playing on the carpet. Or if you want to build the loan throughout the entire apartment, then that's no problem at all. So the C track, you can theoretically step on it too. So, indeed, that really withstands quite a lot. I mean, perhaps it's not exactly the 200-kilo man, but little children's feet, they have absolutely no stress there. Or if you walk nicely over it, it can withstand that too. No drama at all. So, and now, as they say on the cooking show, I've prepared something there, coming right out of the oven. I brought something along once, indeed. I've carefully laid it out before you. So, let me elaborate a bit more on that. And indeed, observe a circle, a parallel circle. Now, kindly direct your attention over here. Actually, that's another way to do it. And what you see here, indeed, is a really amusing layout. This is, for example, my Christmas tree layout we have here. So the Christmas tree farm. There stands the tree in the middle. And then, theoretically, two trains can go around it in a circle. That means we can set the turnouts so that the train always stays on the outside. And indeed, the other train remains on the inside. And now, theoretically, one could also turn out the tracks and say that if one train is here, then it may drive on the inside. From inside, he eventually returns outside. Building turnouts differently is key. Then, you can turn out trains back and forth easily. So, for example, you could build that with this circle here. What have I installed here? I'll show you that real quick by opening it up again. Here, you can see, for example, a lot of radius 2 tracks on the side, which we have now successfully installed here. And then I just assembled a circle right in the very center. I'll quickly rebuild it so you can see what we've actually crafted here. Here we actually took these curved turnouts. These curved turnouts, which you can see here, I basically took them as the starting piece. And I just actually put two curved turnouts back to back here, to the side, so that you can essentially navigate from the outer side to the inner side, and from that side, you can also navigate back inside. And then, I just continued to build this particular circle here. If you flip through this little booklet here, you will see precisely this principle. That is actually pretty much this here on the side. I'll turn it around for you so you can probably already see it this way around. Then you can see here it goes from such a round arch again with a transition track into such a one, or rather I have just stuck them directly into each other here. But for example, you could have also taken this round arch and could have done it like that. So it works too. Or here you see this, for example, here it is also explained again. Here at this point we have once again really this parallel circuit. How you can put it together here. Well, that would certainly be a possibility, for example. So that would now be a curved turnout. Then we have another curved turnout here. And now we just need such a small radius, specifically a number 1 piece. This piece goes in here, right on the side. And then we absolutely need another piece with a radius precisely of 1. We have that here on the side as well, indeed. And now it should actually come to an end in parallel, precisely once again. Exactly. Has worked. And on the other side, we do that too. Here we see a green track on the side. This is actually a radius 2 track. Let's examine the hub more closely. Here. 1, 1, 1, 1. The numbers are on the back. This can be seen nicely. Now I believe that's an A as well. When you need it once and can't find it, right? So we click. Ah, there's one. You see, it's a bit longer. On the side, it also says, on the back, radius 2. I truly hope you can see this here on the side. It clearly states a radius of 2 on here. Thus, this must be the track that was painted green on the side here. I'll show it again from above. Then you see this here, and that's what we would need right here at this point. So now we already have a quarter of a circle here, and it is also very nicely parallel, and with that we can now build a really, really great circle. So now, we just have to focus on creating the same thing once again. What exactly do we need? We need a turnout once more, don't we? In this case we need these here. We'll just put that aside for now. From this curved turnout, it goes straight into the heart of this area. No, actually into these here. Like that. And then we precisely require another 230 piece, so radius 2. And then we have our semicircle almost ready here, by needing another small short round piece, and another small short round piece, and one last one. And now, for example, we have also ended up in such a semicircle.
Und jetzt sind wir hier zum Beispiel auch in so einem Halbkreis
So now we can turn everything a bit and lay it on the side. Then you can see how big or small your system can be. That would indeed be a nice, modest little radius now. And at this juncture we have here, I'll just gently put this aside for a brief moment, we are presented with the opportunity once again to meticulously lay down an array of simple, short tracks. Specifically, the radius 1 tracks positioned right here are of particular interest. If everything goes well, that should work. I'll try, because that's the beauty of the C-track. You can just play around, experiment, and honestly, that's what's the most fun. Just play around with the system, experiment, and just see if it works. Can one plan oneself to death there and whatever else, and look at that, it worked. So, indeed, that approach would work too. And now, I can come back here and confidently say, this is my second radius, my outer circle radius. Then, I'll just plug this in here. No, that was not accurate. So, once again, there was still a simple one inside. Now, it's absolutely correct. So, and now we gracefully come back into the curve here once again. So, 3, 3, 3. Truly, everything wonderful should indeed turn out to form a very nice circle. So, and now we have our round again. A beautifully quaint small facility where the trains can simply go back and forth. Yes, and of course we can now balance and extend that nicely again. If, for example, you have such a startup facility with the infrared track that can be seen here. I just put it over here on the side for a moment. That's it from the very simple starter pack here with the infrared stick. So, for a swift start into model railroading, you can now simply take this track, for example, and can insert it here on the side. Here on the side here. Then we'll just extend it a bit. Or if you say the plate is a bit wider but not as deep, then we can also turn it so that we say we push it in here at this point first. Where we open it ultimately doesn't matter. So we can open it on all 4 sides. I'm going to do this right here on the side in front of me. I can get there better now. And up ahead again. So, and now I need Adam Rees and Eva Zwerg. How many long rails are needed? Exactly 3, because I already have one here with me. And I had indeed already put those others back there too. There were already the long, drawn-out, brief, fleeting ones present. I'm just meticulously searching around here, taking my time indeed. So that was indeed a very brief. So sooner or later I might just find another one, perhaps. So, that one is short too. This is long. This is also short. Well, where have all the long rails gone now, really? So, here is yet another considerably lengthy track. Precisely, I need 3, I emphatically said. We're still missing one individual. And there she is. So now we can nicely extend it by inserting this particular piece here. And carefully place it right in there, just so. And then we have another track here and one there. Honestly, we still have much space. Then we can continue with the short ones. If we're building ourselves a nice oval, a double-tracked one, things will continue right away here. So, put it together once again here, and then, interestingly, we have another relatively short one right here. Then we'll do a quick one there at that spot, and then we need 2 short ones in the back. I'm putting that on now. You see, you can pull the track nicely and easily once it's connected, so it won't come apart quickly. The main perk of this C-track is its lightness. Then, when you have a bit of tension here, you can also shape it quite well indeed. So yes, now we slowly have a nice track here. Something is already happening. You could do a little something there. So then we could, for example, build a train station here and another one up front. Then one could work nicely with it. Such a long one. Oh, I need my connecting track. That's what I wanted to have. And that indeed needs a bit of electricity. Second, the cable is too short. Now it's long enough. And now I can take my connecting track here and can clear away my remaining tracks for me. So where exactly is my locomotive number 1, you might wonder? Ah, there she is. It's certainly nice to get on track. And now, let's meticulously guarantee that all the turnouts are turned inward. She is permitted to drive within the inner circle. Let's do this real quick now, shall we? And then, it's already making its rounds. Very good. And then, we have locomotive number 2. Please kindly stay on the outer circle. Indeed, exactly, and we can already initiate those in motion. So, Now every train has its area where it is allowed to drive. And you see this is a great multi-move control. So now you can also drive with 2 locomotives in one power grid. That is no problem at all. You just have to adjust them correctly. So, demonstration effect now running. 2 locomotives drive in a carousel, ensuring they get enough electricity with just a bit of styrofoam on the track. So, now we're actually going to drive a bit faster with this one, and with the other one, we're indeed intending to drive a bit faster. And then there's really something going on the track. Yes, that's how it would simply be with a small Märklin layout. So, she's still having a hard time. Clean the rails a bit. If something like this happens to you, it's simply because there's stuff on the track. Styrofoam is often used for unpacking. Then there's something like this. Here's a small track cleaning trolley because the locomotive wants to drive a bit more. So, a track cleaning vehicle can drive behind it. Take them with you next time you come back. So, now the 2 of them are going for a walk here and doing their rounds. Now we can go into planning what comes next on our facility. Are we perhaps building upwards? Or are we staying down on one level? Could it be that we are still building signals? What else could be added? And what could the whole thing look like? So, you are a candidate for track cleaning here. We'll carefully pull that over it. Now we can briefly press stop here, effectively turning off the system for a moment. Here is the stop button. No more power on the track, and then we can put them on again. Now she can drive around here with the small track cleaning train. So as I said, when you unpack them, there are still these little styrofoam things on them, and then it starts here. So, now she's turning her customers. I'd say we're ready for the next YouTube video next week or the week after, whenever you'd like. And then I would say, let's see how the whole thing works when we actually want to turn out these points and not by hand, but with this little toggle turnout. But with control panels or with the mobile station, how you can also automate the whole thing and so on and so forth. That then in the next videos. Have fun watching.